What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the Hood Nerd, back coming at you again with another episode. This will be episode, 44, but I told you I'm going to try and get 60 done, and it's 60 episodes done in a 90-day stretch, which should put me at about 103 done. So, today we want to jump into the conversation of pro-black while dating white, interracial relationships. And until I follow Black Guy Therapy, and one of the hosts, Todd, I let him slide the first 20 or so episodes with some of his statements. But this last episode, I just kind of, I heard that and it resonated with me. So, before I went on vacation with my wife, I was going to do episode then, and I was like, you know what? Why don't you sit on it? Sometimes when I don't want to do something, I'll sit on it and vent some and let some of that anger out. And it's just like, you know what? Yeah, it's not worth it. But I told y'all last episode, I'm not going to let people get a pass anymore. So, listening to him, I got that you get that Colin Kaepernick feel when you listen to him talk a lot of times, whereas he's always looking to prove his blackness to you. You'll get those guys who've been perceived as, Oreos and all of that. And instead of them being comfortable with just who they are, they go that extra mile now to show you like, yo, I'm really about that. They want to talk like they about that. They want to act like they about that. So, without even going any further into it, we're going to get started with the first episode that caused that first, when the record scratch and it just goes, I kind of had one of those moments. I got to find the sound effect machine too, so I can have that on hand with that. So the first incident comes from The Division Is Real around the 21 minute mark. We're going to let the other co-host, Joe, speak his piece and say what he needs to say. And it's after Joe finished talking and Todd starts talking, is where I first look at him funny. So I'll let you guys hear it. And, I'll break it down as I normally do.
Live in a different type of neighborhood, better school systems, all these things that they were able to be closer to their jobs. Just happened to be a better neighborhood, predominantly white, maybe a little bit of Indian at the time. Mm-hmm. And black girls would always say he was corny, he was lame, he was all of these things. But he was just a regular dude.
Just a regular dude. See, I already knew where you were going with the story before you started.
So here's the crazy part. No black woman wanted to date him. So what do you think became his options?
White women or anything other than
what was putting him down right for the first 15, 18 years of his life.
Yep.
Now here's the part. This is why I'm bringing this topic up. Here's the hypocritical stance that we have as people of color. If some of our sisters were to see him with a white woman,
what do you think? He with that damn white woman. He couldn't find no sister. And I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm gonna tell you my story. But go ahead. But it's again, they probably be saying.
See, it's right there where it first gets started at. It's right there. And see, that's one of the first problems we have, to be honest with you. That's one of the first problems we have. And it's right there in that little pocket. That's one of the first problems we have. I just wanted to make sure my sound was right. It's right there in that little pocket, though, where you'll have the man with the identity crisis, the black man usually with the identity crisis, or even the white guy with the identity crisis. He's going to come in And this is where his hatred for black women starts at. Now, of course, I blame women like my wife and like her friends because they don't allow these men to be who they are. So now these guys feel like they have to be someone else. They just feel that way. They feel like they won't be accepted now unless they put the comic books down, the video games down. I may like to play with railroad cars or things like that. But what they don't understand is it has nothing to do with who you are. Now, of course, at this point, I don't know too much about Todd. So, when we starting at this point, I'm listening to what Joel's saying. He's saying he got a story to tell. So, I'm thinking, black got therapy. These guys are pro-black male and pro-black. So I'm thinking, okay, pro-black family. But, that's where the surprise comes in, that black family. But, before we get further into that, we do have to dissect the part in which our black women play a part in this. Because they always want us, and I will do a deep dive on that song Beyonce, Flaws and All. See, they want us to accept their flaws and all. They do. They want us to accept all their insecurities, the weight loss, any imperfections they have about their body. They want us to big that up, tell them we still love it. They want us to accept every little quirk with them. But if we come to them, and I asked my wife that because my wife said she was a nerd in school, and she would always say, I'm telling you, babe, nobody was checking for me. And I always tell her, no, guys are checking for you. May not be the ones you want. And that is the truth. See, the truth is when black women say ain't no brothers checking for her, it's really the hood and the cool dudes that she won't checking for. It's not that nobody is checking for. It's just she don't really want the lames checking for. So to her, nobody checking for. Same with the black dudes. When he say ain't no black women out here, it's really ain't no hood chicks. There aren't the promiscuous, freaky black women I'm looking for. They ain't checking for them. Now, is it black women checking for them though? Sure it is. Same as I would say for her. When I asked her, I gave the example. I said, so it was a guy who was just in the comic books, great dude, could look good, all of that. But he came to you and he was wearing Ninja Turtle clothes. He loved Ninja Turtle t-shirts and was in the comic books and all that. Would you date him? She said no. Now, how could a nerd call someone else a lame? See how weird that sounds? Then she put the question back on me and said, would you date a nerd? Sure, I would. Why not? Because to me, it's all just conversations. When I'm getting to know somebody, I want to know the genuine. So I want to know who somebody is at their core, though. So I don't need you to be somebody else. Which is why I tell people when you're dating women, you need to know who you're dealing with before you try and run game anyway. Same as women. When you're dating somebody, before you even, I won't even say put your Mac down or approach a woman, what you want to do is sit across from a woman for about 5-10 minutes. See what she laughing at, even 20-30 minutes. See what type of music she vibing to. See how she dance. See the type of guy she may give a smirk to when they talk to her or walk by. See the one she turn her eyes up at or a nose up at. If she don't want to be bothered, if she turn her nose up at tall, chunky dudes, then I know already, yo, that ain't for me. If she twerking, I already know, and she dropping it low, I don't care if I'm a businesswoman, I'm educated, I got degrees, all this a hood chick. So I already understand when I get over here, I need to kind of drop hood nerd game. I need to come intellectually and drop some of what I got from out of the streets on her to get her attention. That's if I'm interested in a woman like that. A nerdy woman, I can just be We don't have to bring the hood nerd out. I could basically be the nerd part of it. The hood nerd is still here, but it's that if I'm talking to just a hood chick, then just the hood part would come out of me, and I don't need the nerd part. I would maybe just be like, "Yo, what's up, shorty?" Something like that. But that's just that little tangent, because I understand why, the guy Joel is talking about. I understand why they feel that way. But let's continue.
That damn white woman, he couldn't find no sister. And I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm gonna tell you my story. But go ahead. But it's, again, they probably be saying you couldn't find no black woman.
And it is, you can't find a black woman. Black women do turn their nose up at other black guys once they become accomplished, because black women just want the here and the now. That's how they've been raised. That's how society has conditioned them. Now, what I will tell you is it wouldn't have mattered whether you married that black woman or not. Once she gets bored with you, she's going to move on. That's the nature of a woman. Not a black woman, not a white woman, not an Asian woman. Now, with Asian women, though, in that culture, I will say they are more loyal, and they're raised with more family structure. So, they're going to kind of push family first before anything. But when you're dealing with the so-called Caucasian woman and the black woman, when they get bored, they get bored. Bill Gates gave his wife everything she wanted in the world. It doesn't matter. Jeff Bezos, it doesn't matter. Michael Jordan, it doesn't matter. Like I try and tell guys, I don't care how cool you are, how much money you have. When a woman gets bored and she ready to go, she looking for the next challenge. She gonna go. That's just it. Men think, that's why I laugh when men run to Kevin Samuels and watch for, advice on how to do this with women. There is no exact science to this, man. When the relationship gets stale, if she wants to check out, she's gonna check out. I don't care how big your penis is. I don't care how swaggy you are. I don't care how much money you have. When she get bored, she just get bored. That's it. But let's finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm gonna tell you my story. But go ahead. But it's, again, they probably be saying you couldn't find no black woman.
What would they call her?
Ooh, let's see. Well, there are a lot of things that they would call them. Let's see, what would be the good term here? I don't know. What would you say? A sellout? You think they call him a sellout?
Yeah, the way he talked.
Oh, okay. So you didn't say all that.
So again,
you left all that out.
The neighborhood he was in was affluent. So, of course, the people that
they usually play that sound just so you guys will be familiar with it. When they want to say, instead of them saying white, they'll just play that sound, and it's kind of just to imply white at that point.
He's around, talk a certain way, and you automatically are going to adjust to your surroundings.
Exactly.
That's what human beings do.
That's what we do.
And people of color even more so.
Oh, hell yeah, we're good at it.
Yeah, very adaptable, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
So he's cool.
Let's see, the problem with that statement is it's not really adaptable. We are all products of our environment. If you grow up in that environment, that's how you're going to behave. If I was to take my wife and her life would have to start over and she was born in Inglewood, would she behave the way she behaves now? No, I highly doubt it. Because that's just not the environment she would grow up in. So when we kind of get into these conversations already of, the white, you acting white, acting black, what does that really mean, if we're being honest? And it's more so not even acting black. It's more the hip hop culture. You don't act that way. You talk proper and you into pop music and stuff like that. That's those are the conversations we probably should be having when they say, yo, you don't act this way. You don't dress this way. You dress this way and You know, you don't have that bop when you walk and all that. It's just because you're really not part of hip hop culture. Because then they'll say, well, white people, they acting black. Why they acting black? Because she got hoop earrings on. She smack her lips. She wearing Jordans. Listen to the music she listening to, all that. It's all just hip hop culture. We're just afraid to really come out and say that's what black culture is, hip hop culture. A lot of things would be a lot easier, and we would be able to separate and start to group ourselves properly if we would just accept the fact that our generation is a hip hop culture generation. But we're trying to fight it, and it's not really hip hop culture. You know, it's the slang we got. All of that is hip hop culture. The dress, the slang, the walk, hairstyles, it's all hip hop culture. But let's continue.
Right. To your surroundings.
Exactly.
That's what human beings do.
That's what we do.
And people of color even more so.
Oh, hell yeah, we're good at it.
Yeah, very adaptable, as we've talked about before.
Yeah.
So he's corny, he's a sellout, he's lame, all of these things. But the entire time he was trying to be with y'all didn't want him.
Mm-hmm.
That is such a hypocritical stance to take. So you piggyback off of that with your story, because I want to see if there's any parallels.
Well, hell yeah, there's a parallel. I'm gonna tell you that happened to me. So when
he said that, hell yeah, that's when I said this conversation ain't probably gonna go the way I thought it is.
At the high school, my first year of high school, the high school I went to was about it wasn't 50. Well, I guess it was about 50-50, black and white.
Okay.
So I mean, I dated a white chick, but I also had 2 black girlfriends, right? Then I moved to Tennessee, and I went to.
Now, I want you to hear that. See, that's no different than when a white dude say, or a white woman say, I ain't racist. I got 2 black friends. All he's doing is trying to give you some context for, look, don't really say I abandoned them, because I did date a couple of y'all, okay? So I do like y'all. I really do like y'all. But I ended up over here. But carry on.
Another high school that now that high school is like 95% white, but it was at the time it was probably about, I don't know, 60-40.
Yeah.
Dated a black girl. And then we broke up, ended up with some white chick, right? But here's the thing. When I started trying to date black women again, like black girls, like in high school, there were black girls who would tell me I wasn't black enough.
Mm-hmm.
You going over there with them white girls, right?
Yeah.
So when I got to college, I mean, for 2 years, because black women had been putting me down, or young black girls, and I'm a young black man, you know, I started talking.
Young black boy, don't separate it and say young black girl, and then you're a young black man. No, if it was young black girl, if it was a young black boy, it's fine. But again, these are also conversations I have. A lot of people's trauma dates back to high school. This is where a lot of this hatred comes from. A lot of this hatred from black women to black men to black men to black women. It all dates back to high school. And it's why I always had that saying, these people having high school conversations, man. That's my problem right now with the black manosphere. All of these conversations are about how can I get laid? How can I get laid? This is a conversation of 35, 40, 45, 50-year-old men. How can I get laid? And how can I get a woman to marry me? Women. How can I get this guy? Yeah, I don't want that guy. I want that guy up there. Yeah, the cool one. Okay, well, I could get you a cool one. So you have to understand when these adult women, and man, this topic is going to be so layered now. See, when you get these adult black women who tell you black men ain't shit when they say that statement, it's really because all they want is the no good black men. They want the cool bad boy type. But 80% of the cool bad boy types ain't going to be shit. This the same as the black men who say, yeah, I dated black women, and the black women I dealt with, They baby mamas, they heathens, they gold diggers. They ain't really about family, all that. And you want me to tell you why? Because they dating the same type of woman that the women are dating the men. I'm looking for a hood chick. And this is what I want to turn into my wife. This is who I want to be the mother of my child. So, this is, again, like I said, a lot of this stuff dates back to trauma in high school. I wanted to date her, or I wanted to date black girls, but they said I was a square. I was an Oreo. I was a nerd. I talk like this, act like this. Same as black women. Yo, well, nobody checking for me. This been going on since high school. The dudes I wanted, they ain't really want me. Okay, who did you want? I wanted Leroy and Larry. Well, was you having sex? No. Well, why would Leroy and Larry want to be with you then? See, black women don't understand. Boys in high school, I know y'all don't want to hear this. We trying to get laid. Y'all thinking about getting married. Ain't no 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old boy thinking about getting married at that point. We thinking about telling you everything you want to hear at that point. You want me to say I love you? And then I can have sex. Oh, okay, yeah, I love you. Oh, yeah, I love you. I love you. I love you. Tell it to 1,000 times over. I could see myself being with you the rest of my life. In your head, you already know, though, I'm out of here. As soon as I have a good time with this for a couple of months, she gone. All of this trauma comes from high school about people wanting to be liked. You don't even know, and as adults, you should be able to look back and realize how silly it all is, because we don't even know what love is at that age or what you even want out of life, but you're still traumatized by it. But let's let Ty roll.
For 2 years, because black women have been putting me down, or young black girls, and I'm a young black man. I started talking to white girls, right? And then as an athlete, I'm around some black people from the hood who ain't never seen a white person before.
Right. So
when they see me and they're like, bro, you can't even, this was one thing I heard.
Let's go back to that again.
Black people from I started talking to white girls, right? And then as an athlete, I'm around some black people from the hood who ain't never seen a white person before.
Right.
So when they see me and they're like, bro, you can't even, this was one thing I heard from them all the time. I can't even talk to a white girl. I don't even know what that'd be like.
Yeah.
But they see me and I'm doing this, and then they feel some type of way about me. Yep. Then I'm not black enough.
Now, when he said, I don't know what that be like, that's a smack in the face to hood black dudes. That's really what that was. Which is why I tell you again, a lot of these men who are pro-black, interracial dating and all of that, interracial marriage, and you pro-black, that going through identity crisis. And they really hate what they are around. It's a love-hate thing. It's kind of like, I feel like I'm somewhat indebted to this over here, and I don't want to be seen as the outcast, so I'm going to keep moving with this over here. But deep down inside, I hate them. I would be so happy if it all burnt down. But we're going to let them continue.
All of a sudden, yeah. So then when I do go to black parties and stuff like that, and I try to talk to a black girl, then all of a sudden I'm not black enough. Mm-hmm. You ain't, you one of them. You act like a little white boy.
Yeah.
You tell me these things, but then if I'm over here with this white chick,
Now, they're telling you that, to be honest with you, because they've seen you with white girls at that point. And that's probably a lot of the boys you hung around was with white boys. And it's cool. If that's who you are at your core, be that. At this point, though, I don't know that. I'm listening to this story. I got sympathy for him at this point. It's not until some episodes later where everything kind of hits me and it's like, oh, dude got some issues.
Really want to be with you, you mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
But I gave you a shot, but you didn't give me a shot.
Yeah.
Because you was mad that I was with her, but I was trying to talk to you, but I wasn't white. I wasn't black enough for you. I was too white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So
Now, it really wasn't that you was too white either, because I'm gonna be honest with you, and I know this is gonna hurt and may offend some people, but the black woman's ideal and dream man is Brad. It is the white man. They will accept that Oreo, the black dude who acts white, because sometimes that's as close as they're gonna get to that, because white men not really trying to marry black women. So you have to understand, when you see what's going on out here, that's why they love Michelle so much. Dark-skinned man with Barack, an educated man who talk like that, can compete with white men. And it's why they love Kamala so much. Kamala, however you want it. I like saying Kamala. Kamala kind of remind me of the wrestler. So, but where's her position at? Why were they so happy she had that position? Because she was under who? Their white zaddy, Joe Biden, man. You also have to understand why black women love Scandal so much. Because she was sleeping with who? The white president. They love that type of stuff, man. They love it. So I'm going to just be honest with you, as an adult, and you going to the University of Tennessee, I would definitely think, those type of black girls and that environment down there, that is what that is. And you being an athlete, you had to be the squarest of squares to be an athlete at the University of Tennessee and couldn't get a black girl. The squarest of squares. Now, me personally, I think you got some self-hatred and you probably a condescending asshole. And it's not wrong with that. I'm a condescending asshole. But I think you probably move around like your shit don't stink. But let's finish on.
Child, yeah. Because you was mad that I was with her, but I was trying to talk to you, but I wasn't white. I wasn't black enough for you. I was too white.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So and I've gotten that. I got that in college. I got that in graduate school. So I've been there.
Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
It's insane.
So another
But you know what's funny, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up. Those black women now are like, damn, right? Like, damn, I didn't see this before. Yeah. If I would have just, you know what I'm saying? And then it's too late for them. I'm shit. I'm married. Like they're like, well, damn,
yeah,
I can't do nothing now.
So it's funny. A guy used to.
Now, you see how he just said that? Through graduate school, through all of that. No black woman wanted him. That's a woman's dream, not a black woman's dream. Is to have the college athlete with the degree, my man. You like other women besides black women. That's all that really comes down to. At that point, when he finished that story, I let it go, but I said, you know what? To each his own. I don't have a problem with interracial dating. I got a problem when you pro-black and you interracial dating, because at that point, I always tell you, as a man and as a husband, your job is to protect your family. So if you ain't got a black wife and they say, yo, we getting ready to do whatever to the Asian people, the Caucasian people, the Hispanics or whatever, as a man, I wouldn't respect you if you ain't gonna protect your queen at that point. That's your job. So you couldn't ride with us even if you wanted to, because you got to protect your queen and your son at that point, or your daughter, whatever you had.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's too late for them. I'm shit. I'm married. Like they're like, well, damn.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing now.
So it's funny. A guy used to hang with, still cool, but we don't hang out like we used to, especially since I've gotten married.
Right.
But we would hang out a lot downtown, and we would.
And no, I didn't marry a white chick, by the way. Because I know that's kind of what that sounded like. Not that it matters. Right. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. But we used to, he had a lot of connections somehow or the other. And we would do a lot of like the backstage, all the passes, the get in frees, the VIP stuff. No idea how he had the hookups on all this stuff, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we would do a lot of stuff like Fashion Week is one of the things that I got to participate in here in Nashville one year, and it was so crazy to be a Black man in this environment. Crazy. So what I heard very often was, "You look like you only date white girls." Not even that.
I've gotten that too.
I hadn't been seen with a white girl. I hadn't given the
I know you had it. You date white women. Of course you had it.
impression. There was
Because the way you dress,
the way I dressed,
and the way you carried
the
yourself,
way I carried myself.
you didn't carry yourself mad niggerish, right? Like you.
And again, that's another shot. And I thought at that point, Joel might have said something then. That's another shot at hood dudes. See, I keep telling you guys over and over and over again. This is why I don't really buy into this whole as a Black culture we can rise. Because the Black nerds and the Black socially awkward dudes, they will always have a vendetta against the so-called hood dude and the cool kids, man. It just always does. That's why I just said mad niggerish. Every time you hear a man say mad niggerish or he dressed like a nigger or this, they just basically saying hip hop culture. That's all that's a shot at this point. That's all that is. It's a shot at hip hop culture. If you're a part of that, then you dress mad niggerish. Now, the sad thing is, though, they'll come to you and say, "Oh, I'm in. I listen to rap," but they don't understand. They don't understand that hip hop and rap is a part of the hip hop culture. Those outsiders, they just think it's all one and the same. They don't get it. But every time you hear that, that's a shot at those so-called hood dudes. So again, I heard that. And even listening to this the first time, I didn't really pick back up on a lot of this. I had to go back and do my homework, and you start really listening to what's going on. And then you can kind of start sitting back, and it's just like, because once you kind of come to a conclusion about something, or you see the light about something, you're going to start to go back and replay a lot of stuff now, and you hear it totally different. It's just like, yo, okay. That's what that was about. That's what that statement meant. But we just had this conversation about Boyce Watkins. This is who Todd is. That's a Boyce Watkins type of dude. He's the guy he'll always tell you, I couldn't fit in. And like I said, you have to realize how corny you have to be for you to be an athlete and say, I couldn't get a Black woman. You're an athlete at the University of Tennessee. I don't even care, period. You're a college football athlete, period. And you say you dress decent and had some money and you couldn't get a Black girl? You couldn't get a girl, period? You should have had your pick of the litter at that point. But again, this is when I tell you, that's when you can realize who you're dealing with, man. That's when you can tell, yo, yeah, you're a cornball, man.
Nah, there was
because the way you dress,
the way I dressed,
and the way you carried yourself,
the way I carried myself.
You didn't carry yourself mad niggerish, right? Like, you look like you date white chicks.
And it used to bother. It made me mad when I would hear that, and it made me mad for the wrong reason. I was mad because I don't date no white girl. But,
right.
But then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I wonder if that's a confidence issue from these people that are saying it.
And let me stop it there. It's not a confidence thing. When they say you look like you date white girls, or it's a Black girl, they say you date white guys. It's just them basically saying you don't look like you fit in the hip hop culture. You look like you like pop music, that techno music, that type of stuff. Like you look like if you was partying, you had the little rainbow lights in your mouth and you be getting it in 1,000 miles a second with no rhythm, stuff like that. That's all they basically saying.
Maybe. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, what it feels like, we talked a couple of weeks ago about that template of what something is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at me and your thought is, oh, he only must date white girls, there must be something about the template that I'm presenting that says, oh, this is the level he's on, and guys on this level only want to do this.
There you go.
And I was like, this is such a weird and interesting scenario.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic thing.
Very weird. And I didn't know how to deal with it.
It's not the level. Again, they're doctors, philosophers, basketball players. There are a lot of wealthy men with black women in part of hip hop culture. And to be honest, you should only be offended by that or take it that way if it was a hood chick. If it's a woman with status telling you that, and she's just basically saying you don't look like you fit into the hip hop culture, because it wouldn't really be about intellect to her. Because to her, she would just be thinking, his degree, I have the same degrees he has. Our intellect is probably matching. I can probably match wits with him at that point. So we know it's not that. It couldn't be intellect at that point. It could only be one thing. She's looking at you in the way you dress, and maybe the way you talk, or maybe who you talking to, or maybe the way you dancing, and she's like, yeah, you look like you probably swirl. It's no different than, I pointed that out to my wife 1,000 times. When you see white chicks with big hoop earrings, athletic gear, leggings, Jordan, stuff like that, or Dunks, Air Ones, color hair, stuff like that, and the black dudes. Just is what it is. I can tell you that 1,000 times over. I know what it is already. If I see a white chick come out and she got a hoodie on and she wearing Jordans and she rapping and stuff like that, or she into that type of music, she into that type of flavor, the only white dude she would date would be a white dude who was into the hip hop culture. She wouldn't be interested in those type of men. So it's not really a class thing. Or I'm at this level and she's at this level. I'm at the higher level and she's at a lower level. It's really not about that. It's just more so, as I've said it again already, it's just hip hop culture versus non-hip hop culture.
There you go.
And I was like, this is such a weird and interesting scenario.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic thing.
Very weird. And I didn't know how to deal with it. But like I said, it was just a range of emotions from anger to almost like I felt bad. Like,
right,
man, I feel bad for you because you don't think you're worth it.
Right. And that's crazy. And I'll say this, full disclosure. When I met my wife, now my wife is Asian. Mm-hmm. Okay. So she's not dark brown skin, but she's light brown skin. Yeah. She's from
Joe, brother. I don't know how you let him get away with that, man. I don't know what. You know what? I'm gonna let him finish.
The Diaspora, right?
I'm gonna let him finish. Rewind it so y'all hear it in full.
I'll say this, full disclosure. When I met my wife, now my wife is Asian. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she's not sure.
You don't think.
Now, before I play this, I do have to let you know this is where I knew he was full of shit. Because he doubled back once already and told y'all, no, she's not white, like they filming in front of studio audience. So I don't know if some eyes looked at him. I don't know if he felt the kind of way when he said that. But here you go again, getting ready to cop another plea. Just to kind of get it off his chest.
I think you're worth it.
Right. And that's crazy. And I'll say this, full disclosure. When I met my wife, now my wife is Asian. Mm-hmm. Okay. So she's not dark brown skin, but she's light brown skin. Yeah. She's from the Diaspora, right? Yeah. But
now, Joel, I don't know when you said right, what you meant by right. I'm confused, brother. She from a diaspora. I don't know what diaspora he talking about, and please miss me with the Asiatic black man talk too. I ain't trying to hear it. Because if that's the case, then we don't need to be talking about racism or any of that. Because according to you guys' logic, everything was a black woman and a black man is the genesis of it all anyway. So we all the result of it. So we all got some type of black in us if we're going to take that stance. But I don't know why, Joel, you said right when he said she's from the diaspora. Because I don't know what type of diaspora he talking about. And at this point, I knew that man got some serious problems. Serious problems. That's some serious problems, homeboy. Serious problems. That's about as crazy a statement as I've ever heard. For you to even try and justify that. All you had to do was keep it simple. And this is when I tell you, when you can tell when you're in front of a leader and an alpha and a beta. Because a leader and an alpha would have came right out and told you, yo, that's my girl. That's my wife. And that just is what it is. I don't owe you no explanation for why I married an Asian woman. That's my wife. We vibe together. That's it. You've been copping pleas so far this whole episode. You had to go all the way back to high school to then drop this bomb on us that she Asian and then come right back around and tell us, and she from the diaspora. She ain't dark brown, but she light brown. All right, bro. All right, bro. So by your statements, then the Asian hate crime bill, we covered under it, huh? According to your logic.
Okay. So she's not dark brown skin, but she's light brown skin. Yeah. She's from the diaspora, right? But it's funny because again we talk about. It is funny, man. It is. And I don't even know if I've shared this with anybody, but we talk about what we're talking about right now, and being a black man, and even having your not. So I had a grandparent which they're dead now, and I never really talked to them, but even when they put you down, like, why didn't you marry a black girl? Like, why, and they say little stuff like that to you. But it's kind of interesting. My wife is this Asian woman who loves black history. Mm-hmm. So, growing up for me, it was almost, well, not growing up, but as a young adult, when I met her, because I guess we met when I was 22, 23. Mm-hmm. But, as a young adult, with the abuse that I had taken, verbal abuse, right? Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
From my own people. That's what
it is. Yeah.
Joe, that is not abuse. What he took, cut it out. I'm not going to pander to this grown damn man right now. We're not. I can't sit and listen to that, man. I can't pander to you like that. You're not going to come here and cop a plea like that and then start sitting here and damn near crying now because of the abuse I took in high school because she didn't want to date me. I decided to date Asian women. I'm traumatized. Man, cut the shit, man. Cut the shit.
Women who were supposed to protect me, right? And abuse that I had taken.
I really want you to listen to what is getting ready to be said again. Almost made my damn stomach turn while I was in New Orleans listening to this again.
I guess we met when I was 22, 23. Mm-hmm. But, as a young adult, with the abuse that I had taken, verbal abuse, right? Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
From my own people.
That's what it is. Yeah.
My own women who were supposed to protect me, right? And to kind of separate yourself from the pack. Because that's essentially what I did.
Listen to this. He think he live in the patriarchy. He wants to live in the patriarchy, but the man said the woman is supposed to protect me. In what world? In what world is the woman your protector? What? So let me get this straight. You wanted a strong black woman, but you wanted her to be your protector. They were supposed to protect you, Negro, are you serious? I'm gonna let you rock out, man, because we got some more to get to.
I was like, well, if that's the case, whatever. But I'm going over here.
Yeah.
But it was her because she's.
I want you to hear that. I went over there because my black sisters wouldn't protect me. They wouldn't date me. They wouldn't date me. You ask any, like I said, I don't know women in general. When you're in college, you at a big time college, and you playing football for them. I don't care if you get playing time or not. You on the team, and you graduate, and you in graduate school, and they don't want to be bothered with you. It's some things going on with your character, dog. That's why they didn't want to be bothered with you. That's why they didn't want to be bothered with you. I find that very hard to believe. You had all that going for you in college, and you couldn't get a girl. You couldn't get a black woman. No black woman wanted to be bothered with you. Now, I ain't buying that, dog. I buy a lot of stuff on Amazon. But that bull right there, that got to be from a alternate seller, man. They ain't registered with Amazon because I ain't buying that. You don't get delivered with Prime, so I probably wouldn't buy what you selling at this point, dog. But you're going to have to get this story together. Don't ever retell this story like this again.
The pack, because that's essentially what I did. Because I was like, well, if that's the case, whatever. But I'm going over here.
Yeah.
But it was her.
Now I want you to hear that though. Listen to that again. I separated myself from the pack, yet still I'm pro-black, y'all. I'm fighting with y'all. But he told you I had to separate myself from the pack because my women ain't protect me. Yet he fighting for black people. See, there's a guy like this, I would never hang around because he a loose cannon. It's kind of like that line Beanie Siegel said and Feel It in the Air, man. And I always tell people that's a line that always give me the chills when I hear him say that. Niggas handshakes ain't matching. They smile. These niggas foul. When I look at you, dog, and I size somebody up, we shake hands. If I don't like what I see or the vibe I get, I'm cool, man. And right here, you're already showing me. I don't even have to meet you personally to know who you are now. You're a man without an island, man. You can't trust it. A guy who moved and moved away in the direction he moved, I can't hang around nothing like that, man. We could have some dialogue, but that's about it. In terms of friends, I've never let a guy like you in my circle.
Separate yourself from the pack, because that's essentially what I did. Because I was like, well, if that's the case, whatever. But I'm going over here.
Yeah.
But it was her because she's like a Black history guru. This is her thing. Mm-hmm. She pulled me back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and isn't it weird how stuff like that happens? You would think that somebody in your own.
Look how God worked, y'all. Look how God worked. The Asian woman pulled him back to the Black culture, man. This nigga full of shit, man.
Would be the one, but it took somebody outside of my tribe, similar tribe, right? Obviously they're still brown skinned people. Mm-hmm.
What in the hell is he talking about? Similar tribe? And no, brother, if she had to pull you back, you was never here. She ain't here. She don't belong with this. What did she pull you back into? So basically what you're saying is I left the culture. She pulled me back in. Yet you pro-black. All right, man.
But it took somebody outside of my tribe who was into my tribe and who understood the plight of the Black man, woman in America to pull.
Oh man, this shit is like Showtime this nigga should be on Saturday Night Live with this bit he out here doing. Your Asian wife understood the plight of the black man and black woman in this country through books. Bro, you landed on thick today, man.
Me back to be like, hey, you got work to do over here on this side.
That's crazy.
I don't give a damn what they told you before, but you got
Yeah, you right, Joe. That's crazy. And he crazy.
Work to do.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Because that's what happened.
That's crazy.
So
I want to go back to something you said earlier. You said earlier about when I was asking the question, why do you think women are dominating on Anchor, dominating the podcast space? And you mentioned about being on the forefront.
Well, shit, people watch this, but we
perfect. This is
exactly. We're gonna fast forward this.
So to be like, yeah, I'm not guilty of that. I did kill him
and slaughter.
Yeah.
And let me tell you about Barack
Obama.
Okay.
And when I say he did the exact same thing.
Yeah, you see, when you start talking about Barack, you know, let me tell you about Barack. Let me tell you about my Barack experience.
Go ahead, sir.
So Barack was the first president that I was able to cast a vote for. So that's a big deal for me, right? And I remember when he got elected, I was in college. I was a freshman or sophomore, one or the other, right? And I'll never forget when he got elected. I had the dope boy Impala with the 5% tint with the system in the back. We rode around campus, bumping Jeezy. My president is black.
Yeah.
All night long.
Yeah.
Now you hear that? Did you hear that? So I purposely needed to get to this part before we get to the next episode to let you know who he is. What did he just tell you? Identity crisis. It's no different than Kaepernick going from the Caesar and all of the cool clothes to the pick in the head, the pick in his hair with the afro and the fist on the pick, and the all black leather, the leather jacket, the leather shaft jacket, and the black shirt with his fist up, power to the people. Listen to this. Now, yeah, I can tell you, I had my president is black on repeat. I think a lot of us did. Problem is, you ain't from that culture, dog. That's the problem. But he just told you how he was trying to be. Now he told you, the black women told him he act white. So he was acting white. Why do you think he in college with the Impala and the Rams and the tents with his hat broke off, listening to my president is black? Recreated his image. What did Jay say to Nas? You scribbled in your notepad and created your life, man. You was in the window. You scribbled in your notepad and created your life. And this is what I tell people, a lot of people, when I have conversations about how you can recreate yourself. There are a lot of girls who are whores in high school who go to college and reinvent themselves. I don't have sex. Not me. Now, one of the homies will come down and talk to some of the dudes. Say, yeah, she ain't smashing. She ain't, huh? Oh, about 20 dudes hit her when we was in high school. And then word get out again. So he was able to boom. I'm going to go to Tennessee. I'm going to lift these weights. I'm going to get a little bit. I'm going to get a little buffer. Maybe try and grow a mustache, goatee. I don't know if he had braids, may have. Try and get a little grimier look though. And that's gonna be my thing. But see, his problem was when he was dealing with hood chicks or girls who come from that hip-hop culture, they could see right through it. And it destroyed him. It was just like Diana Ross on The Wiz when she pulled that curtain back and saw Richard Pryor. What'd she tell him? A phony. You're nothing but a phony. That's it, man. Real recognize real, man. And you ain't look familiar to them girls. Or probably the dudes down there. But I'll continue.
With the 5% tint with the system in the back, we rode around campus, bumping Jeezy. My president is black.
Yeah.
All night long.
Yeah.
Drunk. Probably shouldn't have been driving. but that's my Barack story. So yeah, I get it. He's very close. He's very dear to a lot of people.
Very much so.
And when you talk about him, some people get upset. I'm not gonna get upset if you talk about him. But
Now, we'll get to the next episode, man. And with that Barack story,
yeah, and
I found out, you're a Democrat. So all of this, the election episode with him hating Trump and all that, and I would have a way, I would feel a kind of way if you voted for Trump. That's kind of, I understand where that's coming. His wife is probably a feminist. Hey, boy, you better get over here and make sure you vote this way. I need to get this going for me, or us women over here need this. Like he told you already. And this is why I don't understand, this conversation of Black Guy Therapy. He just blatantly said, my women didn't protect me. So I don't even know what you got going on over here, man. I don't know what you're trying to add or where your position is now on this podcast. When I go back and listen to this thoroughly, and I'm examining it, and it's just like, my women didn't protect me. So I had to go to the other side. That ain't how it's supposed to go. But
there's a guy that
we'll go to this part. And it was at this point I kind of understood.
Black male, right? And I see a Black female.
It's at this point they had this episode, We So Damn Woke, but a few weeks later. And then it started to make sense when I went back and listened to this while I was in New Orleans. I said, okay, this really makes sense as to who this dude is, man. I get it now. I understand it. This is like one of them dudes, one of them creepy dudes, man, who doesn't know how to communicate with women. And with that, I was just taking the sexual harassment class today at work. And, some of those questions we were taking, you had guys just like, what's wrong with, rubbing a woman on her back or giving her that little pat on the back and rubbing her where a bra strap at. And I'm looking and it's just like, yeah, you don't get it. You don't get it. It's why guys have been thought to be creeps, though, because they don't get it. They don't know how to actually finesse it. They don't know the line between giving her a hug and an embrace and letting her kind of put her hands on your back or rub it down the waist. Because if she move her hands up and give you the pat on the back, you understand already that's a friendship hug. If she kind of move her hands down towards your back, toward the waistline, then you understand, okay, it's a different kind of hug. If she pull you in tight, you understand that's a different kind of hug. But I'm going to play this. And we got one more episode to go to and nitpick off of. And then we'll wrap this up.
Oh, we're here again.
Yes, sir. We're back.
This is Black Guy Therapy. This is a therapeutic podcast. So obviously we're gonna have to talk something out today.
Yeah, we're gonna dig in.
Let me tell you something that happened to me at work.
Okay.
So I am a Black male, right? And I see a Black female walking down the hall. I look Black female dead in her eyes, and I say, "Good morning." She just walks on by, walks straight into her space, and act like I wasn't even there, like I didn't say nothing. And it's not that she didn't hear me, because we were probably about an arm's length distance away. So from me to you right now, I said good morning, and I said it loud because I speak loud. Nothing.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. Now, that doesn't bother.
Now, see, that's a guy who just don't get it. I speak to somebody and they don't speak, that's fine. You keep it moving. But see, a guy who doesn't understand human to human interactions too well, they don't get that. They want to come up to you again and say, hey, I said hello. Bruh, I heard you the first time, the second and the third time. If I'm ignoring you for a reason. Move on about your day, dog. People don't owe you a response. I say good morning to a lot of people in Chicago. Sometimes you get the head nod. Sometimes you get a good morning from people. Sometimes they just mean mug you and keep it moving. That's life, man. I understand, though, those who mean mug me. I don't say good morning to them ever again. I keep it moving. Those who at least give me the nod, I say good morning. Those who say good morning back, I'll continue to say good morning. But that's it.
I said good morning, and I said it loud because I speak loud.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Really?
Yeah, nothing. Now, that doesn't bother me too much, but I guess what bothers me is that it was a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a person, one of our sweet baby Jesus white people, I don't think I'd be mad as much. But the fact that it was a sister, somebody who, and it was an older sister too. This lady's probably in her, I don't know, late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
I'd probably say she's actually in her.
And you want me to say why I call bullshit at right here? And why I shouldn't have bothered him? Because he's already told you already. I don't rock with black women. They don't rock with me. They wouldn't protect me. I'm done with black women. You basically SYSBM. That's what you belong to. Save yourself, black man. You don't believe in dating black women, I'm assuming at this point. I don't even know, which is why I said I don't know how you could be pro-black and don't like black women. You can't be pro-black and not married to a black woman, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Early 50s. Black people, we can't never tell how old they are, but I think she's actually in her early 50s. But, I felt some type of way after that interaction. And after she didn't say anything, I walked by and I said, well, I guess you're not having a good morning then. And still nothing.
Really?
Right? Now, I was kind of being a dick, but she gave it to me like that.
Yeah.
Now, this is 2019.
She didn't give you nothing, brother. And I want y'all to hear this again, just so you hear it.
After that interaction, and after she didn't say anything, I walked by and I said, well, I guess you're not having a good morning then. And still nothing.
Really?
Right? Now, I was kind of being a dick, but she gave it to me like that.
Yeah.
Now, this is 2019. We've, as black people, we've been through 400 years of things at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in 2019, we have this sense of wokeness, right? We're this woke, and we're supposed to be, it's all or nothing. Like it's us against the world right now, right? Or that's at least how we feel.
Yes.
Or how we're supposed to feel.
Mm-hmm.
Or what society would tell us we're supposed to feel right now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if everybody feels like that. But again, this lady walks by me, she doesn't say anything, then I get rude back, which I probably shouldn't have. Probably should just let it go.
So he has a lot of effeminate characteristics. The whole woman, the women didn't protect me. They're always feeling the need to go back and forth with women like that. The whole need to explain yourself away, every minute detail for everything that's going on with your life, why you chose this, why you chose that. Let me give you the genesis of why I don't date black women and all of this. I don't know. I don't know, brother.
And, I think about that, and I think about all this wokeness that we have, and I'm like, wow, I feel like she should be on my team. And even if she's having a bad day, because I get it, maybe she was having a bad day, but this woman is somebody who does this regularly. This isn't the first time it's happened to me with her or to other people in the building.
Now stop right there. That's why I wanted to get to when I said effeminate, but I just wanted him to say that. For him to come right back and basically say that, to say, she's done this to me before. I feel like she should be on my team. You don't rock with black women. You stated that already. What team are you talking about? You on a whole nother team. You said your wife is from the diaspora. She ain't dark brown, but she light brown. So since she brown, she from the diaspora. Then you say, yeah, well, I mean, I possibly was being a dick to her. And, this is not the first time she's done. So if this ain't the first time, what type of idiot continues to say good morning to somebody who does not respond back to him? What type of man does that? I won't even say idiot. That was a word too harsh. What type of man does that? That's effeminate behavior. That's you being petty to the pettiest of pettiness at that point. That's childish. Daddy. Go sit down. Don't ask me nothing else. Come back in 10 minutes. They come right back again. Daddy. I said no already. Daddy. Like, dude, why would you say it's not the first time? She's done this more than enough times. Then what does this say about you? You keep doing that. What type of rise are you trying to get out of her at that point? But I'm going to let you continue, man. You got some growing up to do, dog. At this point, you got to be in your early 30s since you say you was early to mid 30s. Since you say you was a freshman, sophomore in college when Barack got in office. You got to be in your early to mid 30s at this point, man. You shouldn't be behaving like this, man, at all.
Just having a bad day. But this woman is somebody who does this regularly. This isn't the first time it's happened to me with her or to other people in the building. And other people.
Now, he's going to say other people to justify his actions. That's exactly what women do. Exactly. Well, why did everybody else doing it? You ain't say that to her. She was touching your back the same way I did. Why are we talking about her? All we need to be talking about is you at this point and your interaction with her. That's it. You don't have to throw nobody else on. And all you're doing is trying to give context to justify your behavior, to be honest with you.
Say,
and you're good at that.
I see. She's like that. Well, I don't give a damn if you're having a bad day or not. You can at least be cordial.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, let me jump back to what I'm talking about.
Again, that's a woman for you. That's a woman for you. Hey, yo, I don't really feel like talking right now. Can we talk later? No, I want to talk now. I don't want to go to bed upset and all. Yeah, well, I don't want to talk right now. Well, we need to talk before you go to bed, though, because I don't feel right. Okay, give me the space I need, though, to let me process what I'm doing, and I'll get back to you. Now, what did he just come to you and tell you? Yeah, you're having a bad day, but I don't even care if you're having a bad day. Be cordial to me because I'm tired. Who is tired? What do you mean to her in her life, in her space? If she's been ignoring you all this time, she's telling you mean nothing to her in her space. Accept that hint. Go on about your business, brother. But again, this is why I said you can't be pro-black. You can't be pro-black dating outside your race. I wouldn't even call you a leader at this point or alpha, man. This behavior is very alarming. For you to be giving black guy therapy and for you to be behaving the way you behave, I don't know, dog. I don't know.
Say, if she's having a bad day, she's like that. Well, I don't give a damn if you're having a bad day or not. You can at least be cordial.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, let me jump back to what I'm talking about. We both black.
Yeah.
We're on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't gotta like me, but at least acknowledge, hey, how you doing? Like we in the same boat, essentially. We working in this in white man's world. Like let's
fight in the same fight.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're not fighting the same fight, Joe. You know that already. Because he think us and Asians fight the same fight because they from the diaspora. So, hell, according to him, hell, it's we are the world Michael Jackson time. To be honest with you, we all fighting the same fight then. And we ain't on the same team. You don't even rock with black women. You stated that already. I don't know what you're talking about, brother. But I've noticed, going back, listening to previous episodes, you love playing the victim a lot, man. I don't really hear you take accountability for too many things. That there's a story for why you behave the way you behave. It's never really just, I should have checked myself right there at step 1 and step 3. This one even elevated to this. So I'll take that. Won't even need to go there. It's always, now let me tell you all of the stuff everybody else did to me that led me to behave this way. That's beta male behavior, man.
But at least acknowledge, hey, how you doing? Like we in the same boat, essentially. We working in this white man's world. Like let's
fight in the same fight.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you do stuff like that, you fracture that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember last week or I guess it's been a couple of weeks, we were talking about how, black women have always been the forefront of fighting for us. And even when we tried to, and I felt like at this point in time, even when I'm trying to acknowledge my sister who has, fought the battles for me, and she's an older woman too, right?
She's been there, yeah.
So she's been there, and she just, it was nothing.
Mm.
Now, I say all that to say this. She didn't talk to me, whatever, but it made me feel.
Because, as I quote Jay-Z again, I refuse to lose. I peep you creeps 3 months in advance. I see right through you, Judas. Have you ever thought, Todd, maybe people don't like your energy? And maybe this is why you run into the issues you run into. You ever thought maybe you're just not a likable person by black women? Something about your energy don't sit right with them. Nah, but I know you wouldn't think that because I'm Todd. I get it.
Some type of way. So I'm feeling bad. And then that carries on throughout my day. Right. She's feeling bad and that carries on throughout her day. So now we, two black people, we have just polluted the air with negativity.
Yeah.
No, she was in her own business. Whatever she was feeling, they had nothing to do with you. You just wanted to involve your emotions into this situation. Typical woman behavior, typical effeminate behavior. It's typical effeminate behavior. Now, I was a dick and I was doing this to her, but now I feel bad about it. So if you was going to feel bad about it, why would you do it in the first place? You're a grown man, a grown damn man, dog. If you're not in control of your emotions, you can't lead nobody.
You know what I'm saying? And so I guess, and I guess what you were saying, or I guess what I was saying earlier, with all this wokeness, why are we still not together? Again, like I get it. Maybe she was having a bad day.
What? Together? You're married to an Asian woman, brother. You ain't with us. What the hell is wrong with you?
We're not, but this happens with her multiple times. Or not a day, but weeks, months. I've been at this place for 6 years now, and that's just normal occurrence for her. Like, we're supposed to be together. Why are you acting like,
You know what that sounds like? A stalker behavior. This is a regular occurrence. This happens daily, weekly, monthly. I've been here 6 years. It's been happening. Dog. By your logic, this didn't happen well over 1,000 times then. Do you realize how crazy you look to her? I know she probably thinking like, here come this Negro again, getting ready to say good morning. I never speak, and he keeps speaking. Who does that, dog?
Get you, I ain't got to talk to you.
Yeah.
We ain't got to be friends. I get it. We at work. We ain't got to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
But dang, man, like, hey, what's up? Hey, Have a good day. You know, even if you ain't having, hey, okay, okay, yep,
Make it till you make it.
yeah. Come on, what's up with that?
So let's jump back because you brought up a couple of weeks ago when we talked about this very thing, and it might have been the gender roles ish topic where we kind of touched on this, but the majority of the time when I see that, it's us dealing with each other. And that's what makes it, for me, what makes it sad is, for instance, in my job right now, when I go to work, the people of color, their interaction with the lighter side is not like that. I can guarantee you 95 to 98% of the interaction never looks like that. On the flip side, though, some of the light-skinned individuals that I work with, I have seen them act the way that you're saying towards people of color. So the question, kind of jumping back into your question before I attempt to answer, because I ain't got the answers, but I'll attempt to. I see more of that between men and women of color than I see people of color doing that towards other cultures. And it's so strange to me because, to your point, everything you look at, social media, news, whatever it is, we super woke, super aware.
Allegedly.
But as soon as it comes to that interaction between us, that's what I see far too often. So now let me attempt to, and as we stated before, you got fact, you got opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion, but I'm going to give you my opinion based on facts, and the facts are my experience. So I'm going to use my facts, my opinions, to kind of answer this question. I believe that there's still this weird thing, and we also touched on feminism and whether or not I personally believe that it was meant for women of color, and I don't. But I look at institutions like the feminist movement, and then even.
Okay. If you guys want to check this episode out, it is We So Damn Woke, but we'll get to the next part of this episode where I became very alarmed. And I almost wondered if the guy was sane at this point, but I'll let you guys hear it.
Lovers of their own people, and will, for instance, date a white woman.
Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. They'll claim they love people of color, date this white woman, and then slowly but surely you see everything about them is no longer touching or dealing with their people. It's not even touching on their circumstance where they came from. They've created this new life. They've been successful, and this is the new norm.
Right.
So the new norm is not the reality of the rest of the people that look like you, but because it's your new norm, this is life. This is how it could be and should be. Y'all are tripping because if I can do it, y'all can too.
Right. If it's white, it's right.
That's the way it seems.
Essentially, that's the way it seems. And I see a lot of brothers who are
now. If it's white, it's right. See, when you feel that way, though, a lot of times it's because it's how you view yourself. And it's subconsciously because you view white people as a standard. Like you'll hear black men come across and they'll be like, yo, you shouldn't be wearing do-rags. You really shouldn't be wearing those jeans and that shirt like that. You should have some slacks on, a button up, and some casual shoes on. That's how you look classy, according to who? But that's how corporate America. Well, who runs corporate America? Right. So you want me to dress to impress white people. Then you get this whole no bonnet thing. That's fine if you don't like the bonnet. But let me tell you something. When you say that, you say you get a lot of women responding and they're agreeing with Monique. But what are they saying? Basically, you make black women look bad. According to who? Who do we make them look bad to? We still trying to impress the white man and white culture. We still begging for them to validate us, pat us on the head. I keep telling you this. So you'll keep hearing people like Todd keep screaming about slavery and Yo, man, you don't understand what happened. Hey, man, black culture was fine after slavery, thriving after slavery. It was integration that caused all of this. All of it. It caused it all. We need day stores in here. I always say it. The white man's ice has always been colder. You put a black man in front of two gas stations 10 feet apart from each other. You send him over to the right to a black-owned gas station, and guess what he's going to tell you when he put that ice in his cup? Man, this ice is melting, or it just seemed like it's funny. Now, this is the same bag of ice. Send him to the left to the white man gas station. He going to come out, and you're going to hear him do exactly like this. Perfect. I'm going to tell you it's perfect. Because the white man's ice has always been colder. We need to move into their neighborhoods. We need to go to their schools. They get the greatest education. According to who? This country is not doing well education-wise. And it ain't really got nothing to do with black people by why we rank the way we rank. People forget mathematics existed in Africa before. It predates you getting over here to slavery. Electricity was already over in Africa. Already had doctors over there. Like, these things already existed before you came over here. You didn't need any of this to be that. Hell, my grandmother was a nurse and didn't have I don't even know if I think it was 6th grade. We live in this world still where we always seeking that we feel so much better about ourselves when they on our arm, or they pat us on the head, or they say good morning to us, or whatever. I always tell people, if I don't dress well in front of you, I'm damn sure not dressing well in front of them. If you getting blue jeans and a button up and a fitted, they getting a hoodie and some joggers and some slides. They don't dictate to me how I should dress or how I should look. I'll dictate that. Because, see, this is what black people do. They'll do all of this. They'll dress up for them. They'll get in the circle. They'll dance and do all that. And then come out if they don't get the job or get the promotion and say, it was because I was black. And you know why they'll say that? Because Tom will come right behind them in blue jeans and some flip-flops and a V-neck t-shirt and go in there and talk to him, and they'll say, see, he ain't had to dress up enough. Yes, Tom went in and was himself. He was comfortable. They could feel you cold switching nigga a mile away, man. A mile away. But we're going to continue.
That's the way it seems.
Essentially, that's the way it seems. And, you know, I see a lot of brothers who are married to white women, and nothing wrong with that. You can't help who you love. But to your point, I do see a bunch of brothers who are married to white women who essentially forget who they are.
Yes.
And you know, there's a guy that I love, this guy to death. He's from Texas. He is, you know, he grew up in the heart of Texas with those country bumpkins. This dude went to a Catholic school, I believe, like a private Catholic school. Okay. He hadn't been around his people at all for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. Other than his family. Mm-hmm. Everybody else he's interacted with is white. Yeah. Right.
At this point, I'm listening to this. I'm thinking, okay, he getting ready to salvage some respect from me. Finally getting ready to be accountable. And then this happens.
Went to a white private Christian school, right? So he did this, he did that. Now he's married to a white woman. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that, because I don't, you know, I can't say anything. My wife has white in her, and I have white in me. I can't be mad at
Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute. I thought you just said you didn't marry a white woman. You married an Asian woman. Then you come and say, well, I got some white in me too, to kind of justify why you did what you did. And to take the focus. You did that really to take the focus off of what you just dropped, that bombshell you just dropped. And you just kept the conversation just matter of fact after that too, man. That was very slick of you, man. Caught that on the second time around. I was listening to that in New Orleans, man. That man told us, I ain't married to no white woman. My wife ain't white. My wife Asian. Then he come right here and say, and she Asian, but yeah, she got some white in her. Then, bruh, call it for what it is then, man. Say it. I got an Asian white woman who brought me back to the black culture. An Asian white woman who's from our diaspora. You know what? I'm going to change the name of it. I'm going to change the title to this. That's going to be the name of this. An Asian white woman from the diaspora. That's it. That's it. You did it, man.
Married to a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that, because I can't say anything. My wife has white in her, and I have white in me. I can't be mad at white folks.
Mm-hmm.
But to my point, he's
notice that little thing he just slid in there too. I can't be mad at white folks. Yet you steady screaming about slavery. So who are you mad at for slavery then? Who are you mad at? Who are you mad at for the transatlantic slave trade? Every time you keep hearkening back to that dark period for you in your life, even though you're in your early 30s, you feel all of this pain from chattel slavery. That's fine. I get it. You got to sell it, man, just like Kaepernick did. Who are you mad at if you can't be mad at white people? Which is why I told you again also, you cannot be pro-black and married like that, dog. What you just said is the main reason why you can't be pro-black and married to an Asian woman or an Asian white woman. Because you can't be mad at them. That's your family. What do you want me to do with this information, man? What would you like for me to do with this? Let's carry on, man.
I can't say anything. My wife has white in her, and I have white in me. I can't be mad at white folks.
Mm-hmm.
But to my point, he's done all these things, and he's operated from the perspective of, a Caucasian person, right? And even to this day, so he was even like this conservative Republican, get it by the bootstraps type dude,
Gotcha.
right?
Yeah.
But now he's trying to come back over into black spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to stop you right there and tell you, I'm a dude from the inner city of Chicago, Todd, and I'm a Republican. If I was to join, I won't say I'm a Republican, but if I'm voting, I'm going to vote Republican. Their values tie in more to what my values are. Now, I know why you're a Democrat. Because, again, you're liberal. You're mixed, and you need that acceptance. You need to push as far right and as hard as you can to that right to show them, yo, I'm down with y'all. So you're going to overcompensate. Which is why you can be in the tinted windows with your hat to the back or to the side and listening to Jeezy, my president is black, driving while drunk, doing all of that to fit a stereotype because you need to show them I'm down for the cause, which is what you're doing now. What you're actually doing right now, though, is code switching because you're not part of hip hop culture. Are you black? I don't buy into black and white because to me, all of this is social constructs. But, are you so-called African American? Sure you are. Can't nobody take that away from you. Are you hip hop culture? Hell no. And I don't care how much rap you want to listen to and try and fake it till you make it, you won't ever fit into that culture. That's why black women didn't want to deal with you.
Straps type dude.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
But now he's trying to come back over into black spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's trying to come back over into black spaces by talking black policy, right? By talking politics, trying to help, right? So this person also, he rents out homes. Okay. So especially here in Nashville, we're going through a boom, right?
Yes.
So he's like, oh, well, we could go over here and buy all these homes in the hood and then flip them and get all that money.
Right.
But he's the same dude that will talk to you and be like, oh no, they shouldn't come in and do this. They shouldn't do this. They shouldn't do that.
Right.
But like, it's like when he's around one group of friends, he's talking like this. But then when he comes back around us, he's talking like that.
Sort of like you, right? Sort of like you. When you're around one group of friends, we can listen to my president is black. When you're around the next group of friends, yeah, I don't really mess with black women. They ratchet, they this, they mean, they angry. They didn't protect me when I was a kid. They took my ball from me. They didn't give it back to me. Bruh, you ain't no different than dude. None at all. You code switch terribly too. And I'm pretty sure if I can tell through this without meeting you, I'm pretty sure those around you can see it blatantly, glaringly. You might be the only one who don't know they could see it. My best advice I could give to you, brother, to be honest with you, is just be yourself, man. Just be Todd. It's going to be enough. For those who want to be around you, just being Todd will be enough. For those who don't, you don't hang around them. Those who know me know. If you can't accept me for what I like and what I'm into, it's cool. We can be cordial when we see each other, but that's it. If we're trying to be cordial. That situation with that woman, like I said, it told me a lot about your character, though. That you would say, you do this for years and she don't speak, yet you keep saying good morning to her. You enjoy antagonizing her. You want every black woman, I bet you, to pay for them not wanting to marry you. So then you go and cook up this cockamamie story about, I was turned down by two black girls and I had two black girlfriends and, broke up with them, went back to the white girl and, went back to dating black. They didn't want to be bothered with me. So I went and got this Asian girl and, she understood the plight of black men and black women. And she was more in my culture than I was. She pulled me back in. She's from the diaspora. I know. An Asian white woman from the diaspora, the African diaspora. Man, oh boy.
Shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that.
Right.
But like, it's like when he's around one group of friends, he's talking like this. But then when he comes back around us, he's talking like that. And then he's going to act like that and operate to help his bottom line, which also helps that bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic. And I don't know, I feel like I bounced around, but the point I'm trying to make is he's trying to live in two worlds.
Yes.
But really, he's living in their world.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to come back to this world and relate. And it's like, I'm like, I don't, what you're saying makes no sense. And let me tell you why.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, you do this, this, and this. I'm like, no, that's a Republican talking point. Let me bring you back over here.
Yeah.
And
reality.
Right. And
see, that's somebody who's code switching. You thinking being a Democrat makes you black. No different than Joe Biden, man. And it's all good. It's all good in the hood, brother. But you no different than him, man. You do the same thing, Joe. When I'm over here, I can be with my Asian and white wife. And I can let my white side out of me and we can mingle with her family and her friends and do all of that and do all these things. It's cool, bruh. It's cool. I got an uncle like that, man. It's a Muslim, knee deep to following Malcolm, and then he became a black Muslim, Malcolm, Farrakhan, all of this. But he got an affinity for white women, man. It's just like, oh no, I'm gonna get you sucker when dude was the pro-black dude. Clarence Williams I think it was Clarence Williams III, pro-black dude. And then his wife come from behind the curtain and she got the braids. And all the interracial babies come from behind that, man. Like it just is what it is, man. You type of dudes always want to overcompensate. And it's like I keep saying, there's a hatred for you in your culture somewhere inside of you. You don't want to acknowledge it, but it's there.
Makes no sense. And let me tell you why. Yeah. And he's like, well, no, you do this, this, and this. I'm like, no, that's a Republican talking point. Let me bring you back over here.
Yeah.
And
reality.
Right. And again, this is.
And it's not reality. You just think black is Democrat, which is a weird. I'm going to be honest with you. Any heterosexual black man should not be voting Democrat. That does not suit your interests at all. At all.
Not a political podcast, it's a therapeutic podcast. I don't know how many times I say that, but it seems like you have to do that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you operate from that white is right perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's not always right? Like obviously colonization did that.
Yes, changed a lot of perspective.
Yeah, that did that.
It did.
I mean, you go to all white school and live in an all white town, you won't operate unless you look in the mirror. You don't think you white.
Absolutely.
Until you look in the mirror.
So here's something interesting.
All right. Go to this final episode, the most recent episode they just did. Oh, catching up. I think we go to the 10-minute mark here.
Exactly the same.
That's why I got that time stamped at.
Eat together and we celebrate and a bunch of BS, right? That's the politician answer, right?
Right.
You know, this ended slavery or chattel slavery. Well, I don't think he said chattel slavery. I say chattel slavery because that's what it was, right? But it ended this horrific thing in America, and now we are able to be together and we celebrate and a bunch of BS, right? That's the politician answer, right?
Right.
And it's interesting because didn't they just sign a bill that banned like critical race
theory?
So I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? Oh, you're so excited about this. However, comma, period, full stop. We can't teach about it in school. Now, what kind of sense does that make?
So to the folks who try.
Now again, see, I hear that it was that statement right there where I got irritated a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive. Because for me, our history doesn't matter to you. Our lineage, the lineage couldn't really matter to you that much, brother. You went and married an Asian white woman, man, and had an Asian, white, and black child. At that point, you got to let it go, man. You fighting a pro-humanity fight at this point, not pro-black. That fight is over with, man. You turned in your gloves for that fight. Now, you can pick your boxing gloves back up if you want to be pro-humanity. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But I have a real problem with men, especially black men, who come across this whole I'm pro-black. And you had a white wife. I know you want to say she Asian and white, and she from the diaspora. And that's cool, man. You can sell that bullshit to whoever gonna buy it, man. If it's been going well for you this far, that's fine with me, man. I'm cool. But you ain't gonna tell me no Asian and white woman from the diaspora. I would love for you and her to come on here, and I would love to ask her why she believes she's from the diaspora.
Now, what kind of sense does that make?
So to the folks who try their best to think critically and logically as often as possible, zero. But But to individuals who are baited by race, as I have been guilty of several times over, you hear a victory or what seems to be a victory, and you don't even catch on to the hypocrisy that's going on around you. You got this. This is amazing. You get a day off of work, maybe, depending on if your organization goes by this set of holidays or this set. My organization, we don't go by the natural set of holidays. And depending on your position in the organization, you may have 6 federal holidays or 8 federal holidays. I can't remember exactly the number, but something like that or the other. So that means there are folks on Juneteenth who are still going to have to come to work.
And so, probably more brown-skinned people than white folks.
Based on the numbers and the demographics, and when we did our research and our analysis of who has the upper level positions, you are 1,000,000% correct.
Now, ain't that some damn poetic justice? We do get a day to celebrate for ourselves, and it's gonna be more white folks off, right? It's like, well, damn.
You say more white folks off, but you come and you say, yeah, I'm black and I'm white. I'm mixed with white. My wife is Asian, white. My child is Asian, black and white. Are you good, though? Are you just gonna ignore that you said you white and your wife is white and your child is white? You just gonna ignore that part of their lineage? It's okay, dog. Just be you, man. It's gonna be good enough. It's good enough for your wife. And at the end of the day, that's all it should really matter for. And if what you're doing is good enough for your friends that's around you, that's all that should matter for. But you got to stop selling this to people, man. You're going to turn a lot of people off. You keep coming out here spewing this stuff, man. I can see why black women have an issue with you, though. You can't see it. You at a party talking about Juneteenth and what the white man doing to us and pro-black this and pro-black that and chattel slavery, and you got an Asian and white woman sitting right next to you with an Asian, white, and black child sitting right in between y'all. And you trying to have a conversation about race with black women? Women who are trying to find black males and black mates to procreate with so they can keep this culture going, and you trying to have that conversation with them? I know they thinking this Negro can't be serious. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Hoodlum. When Bumpy in Illinois was talking, he said, Illinois, what's wrong? He said, you can't hear him laughing, Bumpy? We the joke. They laughing at you, brother. They are laughing at you, man. I don't really know what to say about a lot of the stuff you out here saying, man. I don't know why they let you get a pass on a lot of the stuff you say on this show. I think the show will be a lot better if you guys deep dive into his thought process on a lot of this. Because I don't know. I couldn't be sitting next to somebody or know somebody. I got buddies who I have this conversation with all the time, and I've had to set them straight on that. You can be a lot of things, but you can't be pro-black and you married to a white woman. We still cool with each other. They just understand my stance on that. There's a guy who's been ducking and dodging. My buddy Corey, I want to come on there and have my piece about this. It's been an open invite. I got to get my talking points together. If you're confident in being in an interracial marriage and you fine with your stance on that, what do you need your talking points for? Because that's all I'm looking to have a conversation about. Wouldn't be nothing but 30, 40 minutes. But he understands how crazy I'm going to make him look when he come on here. He knows that already. He knows there's no way to defend that. It's indefensible.
I'm like, well, cool, we got Juneteenth, but Juneteenth means absolutely nothing to me, right?
Right.
Like the 8th of August means everything to me. But it's just weird, right? So it's like, okay, do I still celebrate on what about the other folks like me? Who's like, all right, Juneteenth is cool, but what about the 8th? And I guess I hate
Our end result, that same group, where do you see them putting the majority of their time and efforts? It's not in the community that they came.
All right, need to
because
get to this part.
That was challenged was, hey, you got to ask these politicians for what you want. I feel like that's been done over and over and over, especially with this new administration, because that was kind of what got them the nod from the community that I come from was, hey, they're talking all the things that matter to us. That's
not what got them the nod, Joe. Black people vote 95% Democrat in every election, which is why I refuse to listen to them a lot of times. I've heard when you guys had the election episode and they was crucifying you and they were saying, yo, Todd was saying, if you don't vote, you don't have an opinion. That's the most idiotic statement I've ever heard in my life. No, if you vote, you shouldn't have anything else to say once your people get in office. You voted for this. That's the one who shouldn't be talking. This is what you wanted. So now you got what you wanted. I don't need to hear nothing else about you. I don't need you to come back now and say, hey, yo, yeah, I thought they was going to do this and I thought they was going to do this. But hey, man, I know how this game go. We all know how the game go already. And I also know why you running and you maneuver over there with the Democratic Party. Like I said, that's another way for you to show your pro-blackness. But again, like I said, Joe, they're going to vote Democrat regardless. It's sickening, but it is. That's just the way it is. It's the same as poor white people are going to vote Republican. This is why I tell people when black people love to give themselves all this power, we put them in office. You have to understand the Republicans know they don't even need your vote for their candidate to get in office. That's how minute you are to the whole situation. All the Republicans really need to do, to be honest with you, is split the feminist movement down the middle. They split the feminist movement down the middle, they're going to win. That's all it is. Has nothing to do with black people at this point. Now, that's a whole different conversation for why it doesn't have anything to do with that and why we don't have the numbers. And believe you me, I got 58 more episodes before I reach that magic number of 60 in 90 days. We will talk about that within this time. But let's finish this so we can wrap this up and I can go watch the finals.
That was kind of what got them the nod from the community that I come from was, hey, they're talking all the things that matter to us. That same group, where do you see them putting the majority of their time and efforts? It's not in the community that they came and had the audacity to say something I feel as ignorant as, if you don't know who you're voting for at this point, you ain't black. I felt that was extremely arrogant and ignorant. Now, to your point though, again, we have an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to actually try to not just right and wrong, but to put some preventative measures in place going forward. But we're not doing that. But there's a beautiful 12-foot statue, I believe it's 12 feet, no, it might be bigger than that, of George Floyd in Minnesota. Did you see that?
The one one where he was sitting on the bench, or
the one of his, it's not really a bust, it's just the head.
Oh no, maybe I have seen that. I know I've seen there's another one where they put like a bench and it's like him sitting on a bench, like at a park or something. I don't know.
Gotcha. Now, it sounds like that's a really awesome, amazing gesture, right? But how does that bench or how does that bust provide equity? Because I'm of the firm belief, especially at the ripe old age of 41, equality is not real. What's real is the individual's agenda. Whatever it is that moves me, that's what I'm going to get behind. So it's not even about equality anymore. It's about what I need. And I think about in a corporate setting.
Now, listening to that, Joel, I don't even know how you could sit and have that conversation with him knowing his stance on these things. I don't even know, to be honest with you. I would love to sit in on one of those barbershop conversations you guys have. Because there are some things he says that they just don't match up. They just don't line up. He doesn't care about equality. He understands already the world that he lives in, man. But we'll finish.
When we're talking about diversity and inclusion, we're not including white folks in that conversation. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So either way it goes, there's still a definitive line that's being drawn in the sand. So the question I ask is, all right, you got this statute, you got this, you've done this, you signed Juneteenth into law as a national holiday. But what are we going to do to close the wealth gap, the knowledge gap, the lack of resources in these various communities gap?
Well, you can't close those gaps, Joel, when your partner across from you is marrying an Asian white woman who's from the diaspora and saying, I'm out. Because this child, whether you want to accept this or not, they ain't going to no public school. Just ain't gonna happen. They love the culture, man. They love the culture. But I promise you, when it comes time for high school, you'll see him, his wife, and that child. They'll either move away from you guys, or that child will move away and start going to school somewhere else, and they'll come up with this excuse and say, you know what, the public school system, or this school just not really what I'm looking for my child. I want my child to have a private school education. And it'll be at that point you'll understand, hey, man, they don't want their children a part of hip-hop culture. And that's fine. I get it. But these conversations you're having with him, man, I don't know what answers you think he's going to give you.
But what are we going to do to close?
And I played this part for you guys to wrap this up, because what he's getting ready to talk about here is where you can basically just tell he's full of shit, man.
The wealth gap, the knowledge gap, the lack of resources in these various communities gap. What are we doing about that? Because those are the things that can change the trajectory of an entire community.
I agree. And I hate I'm gonna say this. I hate that, and this is a personal feeling, right? Like, because this is what I feel like I see this. I feel like I see other groups of people asking for things, right? Like, go back to your example, the Asian Pacific Islander group asking for, they got that anti-hate executive order, right?
Signed, yep.
But we've been asking for that since we've been here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we got Juneteenth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We got.
Yeah, that know what I'm saying, but they're going in a nutshell. That's how we're going to wrap this episode up. Him and his wife and his son, as long as they're married, they'll benefit from that Asian hate crime bill. Things got done. Things got put in place. And I'm pretty sure whatever his wife was maneuvering toward, she made sure it got done. Now, for her to be from the diaspora and these Asian people to be from the diaspora, as you like to say, they wasn't screaming and yelling to get no black hate crime bill put in place, were they? So they don't see themselves from the diaspora, Todd. Not at all. Now, like I said, these things make sense to you, man. I get it. Early 30s, mid 30s. You know, you've been able to run game on a lot of people. But the clock is ticking. And I got my eye on you. Don't get in my crosshairs again. It's your boy, the Hood Nerd. I'm out.